Hello and welcome to Disembodied Screams, horror that lives in your soul. This episode, dun it, 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 dun. That's right, time to dive deep into the depths of Jaws, down into that murky black water. 50th anniversary was recently, June 20th, 1975 was when this was released. June 20th was several days ago at the time of this recording. June 22nd when I'm recording this. So missed it by a few days. So we are officially past 50 now. 50th anniversary in like 2 days. So that's pretty crazy. Cannot believe Jaws is 50. That's, I don't know a time in my life where I don't know Jaws. I was going on 3 when this got released in 75. Don't do the math. And there's just not a time in my life that I don't know of Jaws. I really don't. So anyways, with my history of Jaws, my love of Jaws getting a lot more press these days, I thought, let's put it on the channel, have some fun with it. So here we go. Here are some facts about the movie Jaws from usatoday.com. And there are 50 of them, so buckle up. Let's get into it. First up, the mechanical shark Bruce was named after Steven Spielberg's lawyer, Bruce Raymer. Jaws was nominated for 4 Oscars and won 3: Best Sound, Best Score, Best Editing. It should win all those. The score from John Williams. Chef's kiss. Susan Backlini, who played the shark's first victim, was harnessed to 2 ropes that dragged her back and forth in the water to simulate the attack. Sounds painful. There are 6 shark victims in the movie, including, implied, a dog. Spielberg was only 28 when Jaws was released. It says when Peter Benchley plays writer Peter Benchley plays a TV reporter in one movie scene. Benchley, originally hired to write the screenplay, and Spielberg publicly sniped at each other in the months leading up to the release. Jaws was filmed mostly on Martha's Vineyard in Massachusetts. That would probably be pretty expensive today. In the original novel, the mafia puts pressure on the mayor to keep the beaches open. And if you have read the novel, it is a lot different than the movie. I read the novel a ways ago thinking, I get Jaws in book form. It's completely different. There's a lot more stuff in there that never made the movie, and rightfully so. I think Spielberg was right to focus on the shark mostly because that's the star of the show, the shark. That's what people come to see. They don't come to see all the drama around the shark. So good call, Mr. Steven Spielberg. You made some good calls in your lifetime. Composer John Williams, whose career got a huge boost from this movie, was known as Johnny Williams back when he wrote scores for TV shows like Lost in Space. I didn't know that. Carl Gottlieb, the primary author of the screenplay, plays the newspaper editor Meadows. Didn't know that. Jaws opened simultaneously on more than 450 screens in North America. And it may get into this later on, but I think that was the first movie to really do that. And it really helped create the summer blockbuster, so to speak. It might get into that later on in the notes. I haven't read through all these yet. I'm kind of reading them and learning about them as I do this on the episode. Murray Hamilton, who played the sleazy mayor of Amity, was chosen partly for his resemblance to Richard Nixon. Oh, I didn't know that. In 2001, Jaws was declared culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant by the National Film Registry of the Library of Congress. There were 3 Jaws sequels. 3 Jaws sequels. Sure. There's actually 1 sequel in my mind and 2 that just exist. part 2 is solid. I would watch part 2 any day of the week. In fact, a lot of times when I watch Jaws, I want to watch part 2 because I did really enjoy part 2. But 3 and 4, absolute garbage. Quint's monologue about the USS Indianapolis, supposedly an uncredited contribution by screenwriter John Milius, was based on a real incident. I think a lot of people know that. The film was originally scheduled for a 55-day shoot. It took 159 days, Whoops. Charlton Heston lobbied hard for the Brody role. I'm trying to think about Charlton Heston in the Brody role. I don't see it. I don't see that. He could have been good, but I think he might be, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. Jaws was based on an actual 1916 incident at the Jersey Shore. Didn't know that. A rogue shark killed 4 bathers, 2 of them in an estuary. There's a similar scene. Yes, I do know that scene in the movie where they kill that estuary, that fin coming up out of the water. Remember that. In the original novel, Hooper, Richard Dreyfuss, amazing in this movie, and Miss Brody, Lorraine Gary, also good in her role, have an affair. Scott Joplin's ragtime is heard from the band Shell during the Beach Panic sequence. The Sting, the 1973 hit movie that sparked the ragtime revival, co-starred Robert Shaw of Jaws. That's a nice little fact. The shock moment when Ben Gardner's disfigured head pops out of the boat was an 11th hour addition. After test screenings, Spielberg decided the movie needed one more big scream. And that's a good one. Sometimes test screenings don't work well, but it worked well for that time. Besides Moby Dick, Jaws may owe something to Henrik Ibsen's play An Enemy of the People, in which a doctor tries to warn townspeople that their resort is contaminated. At one point, a disgruntled Hooper draws, "I'm not going to stand this abuse much longer," a parody of Clark Gable in Mutiny on the Bounty. And let's see, Universal Studios spent $1.8 million promoting Jaws, which in 1975 money would have been quite a bit. I'm not sure many movies got promoted like that in 75 with that amount of money. Let's see, Jaws was first shown on TV in 1979. Took it 4 years to get to TV. Back when TV was movie of the week kind of territory. There were no VCRs. There might have been VCRs in 79. I'm sure when the VCR came around. But a lot of people didn't record stuff in 79. You had to be there at 9 o'clock on Sunday to watch what was on TV that week, or you missed it. I think VCRs were just starting to get around in 79. I have to do the math on that one. If you know the history of the VCR, comment below. Call me an idiot and say, you should know more about this stuff. You're from that generation. I mean, I do remember renting a VCR and a couple movies when they were just getting popular in the early 80s. Mid to late, that time frame. So I'm an old dude. I'll say, "You're going to need a bigger boat." The film's most famous catchphrase was an improvised line. Sometimes the improvised stuff actually works because it's in the moment. It's in the heat of the moment, spark of the moment, and it just makes it work so well. It says, reduced beach going and increased shark sightings in 1975 were both attributed to Jaws. Of course, in the original novel, spoiler, if you haven't read the novel, okay, Hooper dies. Benchley followed up the monster shark with a monster eel, the Deep, and a monster squid, Beast. The Deep from 76 and Beast 1991. It might be fun to dive into those. I love finding these lost movies from back in the day and resurface them and talking about them. Quint's boat is the Orca, a Jaws movie ripoff called Orca, about a killer whale, came out in 1977. And I think that movie's about to drop on Netflix in June of 2025. If you're watching this close to June of 2025, I think Orca might be on there pretty soon. Seems like I saw that. Maybe it wasn't Netflix. Maybe it was somewhere else. But I think it was Netflix. Jaws lost the Best Picture Oscar. This ain't a bad... If you got to lose an Oscar to a movie, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is not a bad one to lose to. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is a great movie from start to finish. Jack Nicholson, always good, always good. Chinatown's still one of my favorite Jack Nicholson movies of all time. I love me some Chinatown. Let's see. Sorry, back's been hurting, so I got to stretch just a notch. Hard getting old. It's just hard getting old. Movie rights for Jaws were purchased for about $175,000. Man, that is some. Just think about how much money this movie has made, and all they sold it for is $175. They've really gone in the green on this one. Lorraine Gary, who played Ellen Brody, was the wife of Sid Sheinberg, the then president of MCA Universal, which distributed the film. Shaw based his Quint characterization on Craig Kingsbury, a Martha's Vineyard fisherman who played Ben Gardner in the film. The striking shot of Brody's Scheider reaction to the beach attack was achieved by simultaneously zooming in and trucking out, a technique Spielberg borrowed from Hitchcock's Vertigo. And you know what? I wasn't going to do this here, but I'm going to take a pause right here and drop the haiku, and then we'll get back to some more facts. All right, 50 facts. Tough to read out, but it's worth it for an amazing movie like this. Hope you're as interested in this as I am. This is really fascinating stuff. So anyways, Dick Richards, an earlier director considered for the project, was dropped by irritated producers Richard D. Zanuck and David Brown when he kept referring to the shark as the whale in story conferences. I mean, you're making a shark movie and you're calling it a whale. You maybe don't want that guy to direct your movie. Obviously, he doesn't know what he's doing. The film had legendary difficult... I'm having trouble reading this morning. The film had a legendary difficult shoot with many delays and problems. The crew took to calling it flaws. Until it opened, many thought Jaws would be a colossal flop. It wasn't. Spielberg skipped the final day of shooting and was afraid disgruntled crewmen would throw him in the water. He later made it a tradition to be absent from his sets on the last day of the shoot. Man, you know, I should just do something about Spielberg on the channel. I mean, just forgo the horror stuff and let's dive into Steven Spielberg, man. I might have to read up a biography on him sometimes. He sounds like a fascinating person. Anyways, Jaws cost $12 million to make and ultimately grossed $267 million domestically. A 2008 documentary about the making of Jaws was called The Shark is Still Working. A 2019 play about the making of Jaws, written by Ian Shaw, Robert Shaw's son, and Joseph Nixon, is called The Shark is Broken. Apparently there was a lot of problems with Bruce in making this movie. Jaws has been rightly accused of creating shark phobia. I mean, you make a movie like this, you're going to create some phobia. It has also been rightly credited with creating more awareness of and concern for sharks. Richard Dreyfuss is the only one of the three principal actors still alive. Oh, well, that's sad to learn. That's a sad fact, isn't it? Richard Dreyfuss is the only one of the big three at the end of the movie that are still living. Time, man. Time passes quickly. Amity Island, the fictional locale of Peter Benchley's book, appears to be modeled on Long Island. Most viewers of the film, which was shot on Martha's Vineyard, assume it's somewhere in New England. Peter Benchley had never set foot on Martha's Vineyard before filming began. It says, in the original screenplay, Hooper was supposed to die in the shark cage, as he had in Benchley's book. However, footage of a live shark mauling the empty cage was so exciting that Spielberg wanted to incorporate it in the film. In order to explain the empty cage, they devised the twist where Hooper escapes and hides on the ocean floor. Just a few more to go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're there. Thank you for sticking with me this far if you have. I do appreciate it. Again, I didn't know it was going to be this long. I was like, quick one this morning. Sorry. Okay, let's go. 4 more to go. A scene of Quint laughing at the 1956 movie version of Moby Dick was nixed when Gregory Peck, who played Ahab in that film, refused to grant permission. Yeah, that would have been kind of funny, actually. Jeff Bridges, John Voight, and Timothy Bottoms were all considered for the role of Hooper. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Show Me the Way to Go Home, the 1925 English music hall song that Brody Hooper and Quint sing in Drunken Fellowship, has also been quoted in dozens of books, including Norman Mailer's Naked and the Dead and Truman Capote's A Christmas Memory, and films A River Runs Through It. In 1932, it was the centerpiece of a Max Fleischer bouncing ball cartoon. And the last one, we have made it. Benchley thought the film's ending, where the shark was blown up by firing shots into a scuba tank, would strike audiences as ridiculous. Spielberg argued that the audience had. Okay. Last fact, the toughest one to read. Let's do this. Benchley thought the film's ending, where the shark was blown up by firing shots into a scuba tank, would strike audiences as ridiculous. Spielberg argued that the audience had suspended so much disbelief by that point that they would accept that as well. He was right. Always lean on Spielberg. He usually is right. And there you go. 50 facts about the movie Jaws, a haiku as well. And here's a little knowledge. If you notice the title, Galeophobia, that's the word in the title, means it's the medical term for the fear of sharks. I had no idea there was a medical term for the fear of sharks. I don't know why I'm surprised by that. I shouldn't be surprised by that. I mean, there's a medical term for everything, but there you go. Galeophobia means you're afraid of sharks. Medically proven. All right. Feed me lots of comments, put some chum in the water, and just, give me all that deliciousness about your thoughts on Jaws. When did you see it? How old you were? Are you still afraid of sharks? Does the movie still scare you? Did the movie scare you? Were you too young to see it? You know what I'm talking about. Just give me some comments about all that, man. My earliest memory of Jaws, I don't even have an earliest memory of Jaws. It's so much ingrained in my brain that it's just there. It's like Star Wars. It's just there. When people mention Jaws, it's just there. I don't even remember seeing it for the first time. It's been so many years. I've seen it so much, and it's been just so much part of my DNA throughout the years. So anyways, sorry for the longest episode. This was a little bit longer one. I didn't mean it to go so long. Hope it was interesting enough. If you did enjoy the episode, like, subscribe. You know the drill. Thanks again for watching. Take care. Have a good one, and done it, 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 done it.